the 61st Annual Koontz Reunion held at Beulah Church.
Where's my gavel?
Hey, if you want to eat, get quiet.
Thank you, thank you. I'd like to welcome everybody to the 61st Koontz Reunion. Can't hear me. Okay. I'd like to welcome everyone to the 61st Koontz Reunion. My name is Brian Koontz, if you don't know me. Tim's my dad. Everybody, I guess y'all are all related to me anyway. I'd like to ask Reverend Kennedy if he would give a blessing and have some lunch.
On behalf of the 61st Annual Koontz Reunion, and we look forward every year to having you, and I hope you find as much enjoyment and more as your history has prepared you for. Let us give thanks to God. God, we thank you for blessings, for the blessing of this day, for the blessing of love and family, for the blessing of food, the bounty of thy earth. We give you thanks for all of these. May these fill our cups and our plates and our lives to overflowing this day. I pray in Christ's name. Amen. where I'm going.
Hey,
I never be allowed to do that. That's where I'm going. That didn't do anything for me.
Got your daughter here.
oh no.
Give me a hug here. How you doing? You all ready for that big wedding?
We're getting that way. Not really. I made that.
Yeah, hold on, shoot, they give you a shot, you're up the next day. What are you doing in here? You gotta get this room for somebody else.
Oh, really?
I gotta go over and see
You know, he's write it down and tell him. He's got light on the walls and he's in his way.
here. Nanny.
Pick up a little, man.
Stand up. Who is Nanny the oldest? Oh, she is. I'm sure she is. How old is she?
Bragging about it.
And the youngest member. I guess we'll just keep it all in the family. Nicholas is 11 weeks.
What's the name?
Nicholas Austin.
Nicholas Austin. How you spell Nicholas?
Nicholas.
That's not the reason y'all had him, was it? So you knew you were going to be
AUSTIE.
present this year.
Yeah, we missed it the first 2 years. Figured we'd get it this time. And who has traveled the farthest? I came from Walker.
We're back from last year. We liked it better. We're back.
This year, we're doing a little something different, and we're giving the family history that Doug Koontz put together for the Koontz, David, I'm sorry, did for the Koontz family, and we're giving it to the youngest and the member who traveled the farthest.
He is related to me.
And I would like to, at this time, turn it over to Lizette Koontz for the memorial service.
How poor would man be without the gift of memory? Memory is the only paradise out of which man cannot be cast. St. John wrote, "Blessed are the dead which die in the Lord from henceforth. Yea, saith the Spirit, that they may rest from their labors and their works do follow them." The memory of the just inspires us to worthy living. Who among us had a godly father, mother, husband, wife, brother, or sister who walked the path of the just and did that which was right in the sight of the Lord, has not felt the uplifting power of their memory and their example? Because they live worthily, they call upon us to follow in their footsteps. The memory of the just is blessed to the soul of man in the time of doubt. When the foundations of life and character are being undermined by doubt, when old beliefs are crumbling, then how often it has been that the memory of the just has called the soul back to faith. It may have been a portrait on the wall, the music of a familiar hymn, a room in the home where prayer was said, or a Bible which once was held by hands that are now dust. But that was enough to bid the spirit of doubt and unbelief to leave. Margaret E. Sangerster wrote these words in a poem. "They never quite leave us, our friends who have passed, through the shadows of death to the sunlight above. 1,000 sweet memories are holding them fast to the places they blessed with their presence and love. The work which they left and the books which they read speak mutely, though still with an eloquent rare, and the songs that they sang, the words that they said, yet linger and sigh on the desolate air. And oft when alone, and oft in the throne, or when evil allures us, or sin draweth nigh, a whisper comes gently, nay, do not the wrong, and we feel our weakness is pitied on high." When our loved ones are taken from us, it seems that their passing brings a sorrow which cannot be relieved by time or circumstance. Yet how often we discover that their passing into the unseen world and their removal from the uncertainties of this life only adds to their power to strengthen, guide, and to comfort us. Jesus said to his disciples in his last farewell in John 16:6-7, "Your hearts are full of sadness, but I am telling you the truth. It is better for you that I go away, because if I do not go, the Helper will not come to you. But if I do go away, then I will send him to you." We can say, although in a different way, that it is a wise and necessary that our friends should be taken from us in order that we might fully know their power to help and to guide and comfort us on our pathway in life. So it is only fitting that we remember today and thank God for each person that walked in our midst, short or long, and gave to us the glory and witness of their lives. Today, we're going to remember 4 Koontzes that I know of. If there's any more, I'm sorry that I missed them, but that's all that we have come up, several of us, over the year, this past year. The first one is Mildred Yates Koontz. She was the widow of Charlie Conrad Koontz, who died on November the 25th, 1994. Second is Helen Elizabeth Michael Kern, widow of Walter Kern. She was the daughter of Glenn and Nina Koontz Michael, who died November the 30th, 1994, and she was buried in Arlington National Cemetery. Juanita Koontz Davies, the daughter of Eugene Carlton Koontz and Ida Jane Regan, died December the 22nd, 1994, and was buried in Dunn, North Carolina. Marla Susan Koontz, the daughter of Marshall Leon and Betty Curry Koontz, who died December the 31st, 1994, and she was buried at Faith Missionary Alliance Cemetery. The 5th candle has been lit in memory of all of our deceased Koontses this past year and in all the years past. In conclusion, I'd like to read this poem by Grace Noel Crowell, "Out of the Dark, the Light. O hearts, remember the eternal truth God gives us as a sign that after the dark, as glowing as an ember, deep at the core of life, a light will shine. The light of hope after the bitter weeping, the light of peace after the lengthened pain. The Christian heart held close within God's keeping will find the dark skies brightening again. The risen Christ is proof of light's returning. The risen Christ is symbol of the dawn. O you who have been striving, longing, yearning to catch the light ahead, move out, move on. You will find him there among the springtime flowers, among the clean winds of a newborn day. He is the lamp of all our future hours. He is the light to guide us on our way."
Okay, can I have the minutes from the last meeting?
The 60th Annual Koontz Reunion was held June 12, 1994 at the Fellowship Hall on Beauty Night over July. There were 63 family members, along with several family friends present. Connie Prince, President, presided over the luncheon and dinner. Reverend Dale Kennedy gave the invocation, and we enjoyed a bountiful covered dish lunch. Memorial service was held by Donna Koontz Moulton and Erica Koontz. Members deceased since the last reunion were Reverend Harvey Koontz Jr., Martha Lee, Michael Show, Brenda Jarvis, Aston Koontz, Mabel Evans Koontz, Floyd J. Berrier Jr., father of Andrew J. Berrier. The treasurer's report was given by Betty Sowers of $494.71 as of May 22, 1994. The minutes were given by Patty Lookerville and approved as read. Thanks was given to Bob Redwine for taking pictures at our reunions for the past 9 to 10 years. Jimmy Koontz reported that all old tapes are now on VCR tapes and are available through him. Jim Koontz read a letter from the officers concerning a monument being placed in the Beulah Church Cemetery remembering the 60th Koontz Reunion. The officers also checked into a picture of the church to be painted by Dempsey Essex, a local artist. The cost would be $3,500. Ideas for both projects were tabled due to lack of interest. It was suggested that we possibly consider the same ideas for our 75th reunion. Cleaning of the tombstones in the cemetery was discussed. Doug Koontz will take care of the Michael Koontz stone, the oldest son of the Koontz family. Betty Sowers will take care of the rest. Luzette Koontz will be in charge of the memorial service for 1995. Clay Koontz suggested we have a pickle contest at our next reunion, so everyone was encouraged to bring their favorite pickle. Officers for 1995 are President Brian Koontz, Vice President Clay Koontz, Secretary Patty Lickaville, Treasurer Betty Sowers. The oldest member present was Aunt Howard Koontz. The youngest member was Jordan Lavingold Link, grandson of Bob Link from Ohio, Zora Koontz, his great-grandson. The Bob Link family traveled the farthest from Cincinnati, Ohio. The following members were present at the reunion. On this day, they were also present at the first Koontz reunion, which were Farrell and Lucille Koontz, Evelyn Evans, Betty Reagan, Betty Sowers, Iris Snyder, Dr. W.C. Howell, Bob Link, Dick Koontz, Roxy K. Koontz, and Idri Koontz. There was no more business. The Koontz family was encouraged to return next year, and the meeting was adjourned. Respectfully submitted, Tony Koontz, President, Patty Koontz, Lickaville, Secretary.
Any corrections to those?
Yes, but that was, when you said that Betty Sowers would take care of the rest. That's what I had written there, Betty.
We appreciate that, Betty.
I wonder what I had done. Very good.
Dick and Tom and I, where's Tom? Dick and Tom, we said we'd do David's and Spill's, right? And then we have to talk about the other. About Dick, Dick, Tom, David, and Spill's. And
Did we do it, Betty?
well, that's how that is. We'll talk about that.
David, I'm sorry.
Any other corrections? Okay. The treasurer's report.
The balance on hand, May 22nd, 1994, was $494.71. The donations for the reunion last year were $157, which made the total cash on hand $651.71. Disbursements, postcards and stamps, $49. Bueller Church use of the hall, $50. Bob Redwine photographer, $30. Baker printing for postcards, $12.72. The Genealogical Society of Davidson County for the Koontz books and awards was $30. And the total disbursement, $171.81. Leaving a balance of $479.90. The accrued interest was $11.86, making our balance on hand today $491.76.
Old business, the tapes. Seems that we have lost them somewhere, or nobody really knows where they're at.
Not necessarily.
We've narrowed it down to one of two places.
Actually, I was trying to see if had the tape, so I didn't look very well for him. I'm assuming that I've probably got it wrong.
Somebody borrowed last year, and somebody borrowed them from us from the Koontz Reunion last year. Somebody took, he came out to the van and got them and brought them back in, and I don't know who it was, and he can't remember who it was. But we have not got them.
Now, the old one, the original I've got with me today, the one we had converted, is the list
10.
I'd like to thank you for coming out
Sure.
and doing this for us.
He probably knows this crowd better than we know ourselves.
About those tapes, I believe, best of my recollection, the tabs were broken out because about every year I have to stuff a piece of paper or put a piece of tape over it. So at least the years that we added on the tape, it already had, say, 1 year on it. Then we added the next year on it. They were broken out.
So they can't.
I move that we have our secretaries send out cards to everyone that was here last year, and I'll help you, Patty, if it gets to be a big job, asking people about the tapes and,
make sure they're not out.
okay, and then, well, if you don't find them, let's do something like that. We need to find them. You got a list of it, right?
Yeah, I've got the address, but the same ones that I got the address off I sent to Laura, and I've got.
Well, everybody here, then we could, everybody that's here, we could say they don't have good.
I can get names off that book right there. Mama didn't get it, did she? Mama, Angie, and Mama?
I'm not that sure.
She's got it.
She may have, I'm not positive.
She bought it.
I thought I gave him the, I must have gave him just the oldest, the union copy, right?
Yeah. But that wasn't last year, that was the year before.
That was year before that. I'm thinking that was year before. That's what I think he's thinking about, year before.
Yeah, that's when you gave me the old original, right? Well, check and call some of us and we'll send out a SOS.
You let me know if I need to send some cards to those that aren't here today, then I can.
But I've loaned the oldest one that him had made, I've loaned it out several times, and loaned it out, no problem, getting back to all these problems. I had a guy that just took it about a month ago, and I told him, gotta have it back in 2 weeks. And I figured, if it's 2 weeks, maybe I'll get it back in 4. And I just made 2 phone calls this past week to get it back for today. So,
Maybe you're gonna have to start taking the deposit.
What happened was that he had tried to record it himself. He had 2 VCRs, he said, and in the process of his working and stuff, he tried, it was not a good quality copy. So he took it to a camera place and they made him a copy. And that's what, it's a matter of them holding it up, just getting it back to me. Yeah, I thought about that. If anybody borrowed it, we ought to maybe take a deposit on it. That way.
Yeah,
Of course,
$10
we're
they
talking,
come
it
back
costs
to
us
them.
$300 to get them made, to get the one VCR tape made, so, getting a little deposit's not gonna be much, because it's not even important.
How many have copies of them? You know?
Megan's got a copy of all of them. I talked to her Friday.
But you still have some of the old ones. How many are you missing? 3, 4?
That's 4.
I'm talking about the old machine.
We've got all that.
Got it. I just got that first. I want a copy. memory of the 60th Koontz Reunion. Didn't we talk about
That was, I think the motion said, you know, we'd clean them, and then I think I volunteered
To do one.
that we would do
We
that.
would do David and Sibylla, and he said he'd do Michael's, but Michael's doesn't need cleaning because it's not soap, it's not marble, it doesn't mildew. What his is made out of.
What did it cost?
Well, it's $20 a piece to get them cleaned.
Let's get them done.
Well, now let me tell you this, some of those on Koontz Road, I've been looking at those, are children and people that have no descendants whatsoever. They're babies, I don't know, they don't have any descendants, and nobody's gonna be trying to read them. I didn't know whether you wanted to clean those or not. The ones that are people that want to go back in the DAR, you know, and they need to read them, I thought, well, those are the ones, you know, that we need to clean. But actually, it's not that many. Susanna Koontz needs cleaning real bad. She was the daughter of John, and she goes back, she married Jacob Michael, and that's a big family, Susanna Koontz. Hers needs cleaning really bad. Jesse Koontz is a Civil War veteran. He goes back to our, he was David in the village.
How many do you estimate there are out there in this thing today?
Well, there are a lot out there that need cleaning, but I'm trying to think about the ones, okay, Andrew Koontz probably does too. I'd say 3 at the most that have descendants. 3. And then we can do some later. I mean, if we could get Susanna's and Jesse's and Andrew's clean, then that would be some.
Don't you think we need to do that, David?
Well, all these 3 are, I don't see necessarily clean up the base of it. That's up to y'all. We might can get some people involved here to do that and not have to pay out the directors.
Well, who's any direct descendants here from those?
David goes back there all over.
David, just take care of it.
Yeah, David goes back there. Listen again, now say that again.
I have 21 ancestors. All.
Not,
I mean, this is the Revolutionary War. About 9 to 10 of them are in Pilgrim Church Cemetery. But Nicholas Michael, Frederick Michael, go back through to Jacob Michael. So,
I'll do Michael's. I've got Charlie Koontz.
yeah, well, why not? Why can't the Koontz Reunion Treasury do them and anyone that wants to contribute? How's that? Or I'll take one.
Put that in the form of a motion, and I'll second it, and we can vote on that.
Well, now Jesse goes back in the same line of our line. Jesse, maybe there's somebody else in that line. And Andrew,
It may not be there's very few in this area, in Davidson County now, that are go back to the.
I know, they're on Andrew. But it's such a pretty, such a pretty long.
So how many are we talking about, David?
I'll come back to it.
But I thought you said we needed more than 3.
Oh, it's a bunch out there that, but I don't know who they are, because I can't ask either. I know who they are, but they don't have any descendants that I think that,
Give us a number, let's vote on the number to do, or I'll look at the form of a motion.
I would just do 2 or 3 a year, because I don't know, I didn't count them all, because I didn't think it was necessary.
You got at least 2 right there.
It will get to a fight over who gets done first. I've got 3, I didn't have 1.
There you go.
But yeah, I thought we could do 2 or whatever.
Mr. Chairman, I move we do 5 this coming year, and Betty pick out the 5, and we pay for it out of the treasury.
Okay, what about this,
Wait, Betty, let's discuss my motion.
You need to put all the names in the hat then so it wouldn't be a prejudicial cleaning.
Well, we'll let her.
Or do like
Well,
this.
they say these are paid primarily and
Any discussion?
Any discussion? Do we have a second?
I want to ask a
John
question.
seconded.
Okay.
There was that we do the primary three that Betty mentioned. And then if there's two others that were in worse need than the other five that are out there, every now and then, we want to pick five, like Dick said.
Why don't we get somebody, well, why don't we have a little committee, somebody to help me? I don't want to be responsible. And there are people that live around here at the Koontzes that can help me decide, and not just me decide. So who wants to help? Well,
Whoever wants to stay, that can walk out of the cemetery, that's what we're finished.
I'll help you.
Okay, Dick and who else?
I'll stay. Anybody? Anywhere?
Okay. Y'all can help me.
All in favor of cleaning 5 this year? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Any other old business? Okay, I guess that moves us right on into new business then. We've taken care of most of that. Anything else that needs to be discussed as far as new business?
Yeah, I have to go get on that.
Okay, we need to pass the hat, wherever that business falls.
Okay, you've been passing the hat in my program.
Get Duke on the back.
Here's a basket, it's more time.
Well, it's wonderful and that you furnish all the silverware and the plates and the napkins. You know, it's worth it. It's just wonderful. Okay, the first thing, this is going to be a really exciting thing I'm going to tell you now. Last summer, in fact, it was not long after Betty recently gotten back from Germany, that Lee Koontz called me, and he said, now Lee's a cousin, I call him Paul Chapel, he's kin to, yeah, y'all know him as Lee Vaughn probably, but he goes by Lee now. Lives over on Railroad. Anyway, I remembered him from high school when he called me. And he said that he was going to Germany. He said, I'm going to Germany next summer, and I want to know where our ancestors come from. I said, well, I can't tell you for sure, but I said, I can tell you the towns that Betty had given me. And Baumholder, you remember what they were, Betty? Several different towns. Walmart, and I told him those towns. So he hired a genealogist, her name is Petra Zeus, to see if she could find Johann Michael's father. Johann Michael, we know, is our Pennsylvania ancestor. So I was down at the library one day. Well, she didn't find anything in any of those towns. And I was at the library one day, and I know when David Reynolds and I and Lee had remembered seeing the word Otterberg, one of Michael's brothers of Otterberg. Well, I was down in the library one day, and then I was reading the Randolph County history book, and one of our cousins that goes back through David had said, he went back to Johann Michael of Otterberg, Germany. Vaterberg, he called it. You remember he said Vaterberg? So I made a copy of that and gave it to Lee. He called Petra in Germany and told her to search in Otterberg. Well, she found a Johann Michael Koontz, born December 27, 1717, which is exactly Johann Michael's tombstone in Pennsylvania. And his whole family, and his name is Nicholas Koontz. So we go back to a Nicholas Koontz and Maria Elizabeth Weber? Weber, which you know now is Weber. But we don't think they ever left Germany. Well, Lee was real excited. He called me one day and he said, Betty, I heard from Petra, and our ancestor was born in Ireland. I said, always kidding. I said, well, Rita, tell me the truth. No, that's the truth. He was born in Ireland. I said, what, Ireland? Yeah, his mother and dad, during the 1709, a lot of the Germans left England because of the hard times. They left Germany, went to England, and then to Ireland because they were trying to colonize Ireland, and they were offering them land real cheap if they would go. So our Johann Michael was
really Irish.
That's what they said down in the library when I thought, oh, Betty, you've got Irish blood. I said, no. He was just born there. He was born in Ireland, and then in a few years they went back to Germany and had more children than in Germany. Anyway, that whole story is going to be in the book that Randy Reagan, I told you last year when I gave you those group sheets, that Randy Reagan in Norfolk, Virginia, that does Davidson County history books. I guess he's done a bunch. All these books on this sheet of paper, and these are free. All the books that he has done in Davidson County, he wants to do all the major families, and I guess he's done 20 families so far. So he's done a Sowers book and a Koontz book. And his books, he doesn't have them bound because they would cost so much. He thought that probably nobody would buy them because it would be like $50. So he prints them out on his computer. He's a NASA engineer in Norfolk, Virginia. And he's got a wonderful computer program. And this is the way he sends you the book. Just the book itself. Not even the whole punch print on it, just the book. And then you have to buy a notebook to put in and get the whole punch. But the book is $23. That's with postage and handling, which is a bargain for a book like this. Because it, how these computer programs tie in everybody that you're in, do all the Sinks, all the Eberhardt, the Leonards, all the families in Davidson County are right in this book. And I got this at Koontz Office Supply, and I have my whole, it takes too long to punch all those holes, but now speed printing, any of your office places will have a hole punching machine, and they'll punch the holes for you. Pretty reasonable, so much a page, but there's usually a setup fee, to set up the machine, but it's not a lot, it's like $5. But if you have several things that you have to have the holes punched in, like if some of you could get together and take them like speed printing and get the holes punched off at the same time and then share that setup fee, it wouldn't be much. But anyway, you'll have to order these books now. And his address is on, if you want to order one of these books, you'll have to get his address. You'll need one of these. If we run out of these, you'll have to get his address and order one. But the first page has all about Nicholas and all of his children on the first page, and it tells all about the reason they left and all that. He's got that in there. I was able to, Lee got it just to me in time that we could get it in this book. And so that was the latest thing that we had on that line. Then David Reynolds, thank heavens, finally got his early Koontzes published in a book. He turned this over to the Genealogical Society. They're selling these books. This is a wonderful book. Naomi can back me up on that. Because of the research, the careful research he's done for how many years, Dave? 40-some years. This concentrates on your early Koontzes. If you had this book and this book, then you'd have about everything you needed to know about. You'd have the early ones in here. So what, first 2 generations? First 3 generations. And then he has marriage record, all your old marriage record, Civil War, your Civil War Koontzes, and even the write-ups that's in the troop book about each one of them. So it's actually 3 books in one. And it's $10. Can you believe it? It's just $10.
And if you order through the Genealogical Society, it's $1.50 for shipping and handling.
But I think I have enough of these here today. I don't have any Randy's tools, but I have enough of these that we can sell these outright today for $10.
But I made it as a gift to the Genealogical Society, so my company, AT&T,
And it really is
managed my
wonderful.
gift.
Oh, yeah, I do need to tell you something, Naomi. I do need to tell you how Randy Reagan is kin to us. He does go back to Maria Sarah Koontz. He also goes back to the Leonards. In fact, his mother was a Leonard, right? Curtis Leonard. Some of you might know Curtis Leonard. He worked with furniture, Dixie Furniture. He was one of the guys at the Dixie Furniture. And So Randy is a kinsman. He always signs his letters, your fourth cousin. Randy Reagan, your fourth cousin. Now the other book, this is the year of the books. I told you 2 years ago I was going to do a Civil War, I call it a Civil War, it is a dated bag. Now this is a list, this is 200 men I was aiming for, that's what I was aiming to get, 200 men. I need to do 200 more now, but I thought it was time to do it. I really don't know whose tombstone that, I don't know whose Iron Cross that is on the cover. All the other Iron Crosses were so old and so worn, you couldn't read them. This is a newer one, and I don't know whose it is. I thought, well, that doesn't show any partiality. But I don't know whose it is. I made it in Lexington City Cemetery. But it has lots of Davidson County names. Barrier Byerly, Clyde Felter, Everhart, Fritz, Gobble, Hedrick, Heitman, Hite, Koontz Lanning, Leatherman, Leonard, Livengood, Pinkett, Shove, Sink, Smith, Snyder, Sowers, Taylor, Custy, Wagner. It has all the Koontzes, all the Sinks, all the Wagners, all the Sowers. Because what I was trying to do was not just put the name down in here. I put it took a lot of research to do this. I put the person's name, the soldier's name, his company, and his regiment. So you could go to any library and get the troop books and look up. You wouldn't have to write to Washington for the records unless you just wanted to. And it'll tell you a little paragraph in there, but I couldn't put the paragraph. This is information if you want to look up the Civil War ancestry. I had his parents, when he was born, who he married, when he died, where he died, and where he's buried if I knew. Of course, you don't know where people that get killed in battle. Many times you don't know where they're buried. So this is $5. So we've got 2 books, the John Koontz book and my Civil War book, and this you'll have to order. I was down in the library one day, and there was this guy, a young guy working back there, and I could see that he was frustrated, and I asked him if I could help him because he had a Civil War book in his hand. Well, I'm looking for my Civil War ancestry, and I said, well, who is it? It says Patton. I thought, well, this is somebody from out of the state, I guess, looking for Patton. I said, well, I don't know that name. He came on a bit further, and then he heard me tell somebody, say something about the Koontzes. He said, are you a Koontz? I said, I was a Koontz. Well, I'm Matthew Koontz. And he is who, David? He's Daryl's. He's in Daryl's. Baines' son. The reason I'm telling you about Daryl Koontz is, when he found out that I was interested in the Civil War, he does Civil War reenactments. And he said to me to be sure and tell anybody, and I don't know if there's anybody here interested or not, in doing the Civil War reenactments, you join up with a company, and they go around to schools giving these programs. They call it Living History. And they do battle, and they do enactments at battlefields. And it sounded real interesting, and I thought somebody here might be interested in that. If you are, you'll need to see me, and I'll tell you how to get in touch with Matthew. Where's Betty Koontz? We got Betty Koontz Sauer, Betty Koontz Reeves, and this is Betty Gosnell Koontz. Betty Koontz, raise your hand. This is the first time she's been here. She goes through the George Koontz line. Now this is confusing. Betty married Max Koontz. Betty married Max Koontz. Now, Max Eugene Koontz. And I married Max Eugene Sauer. But anyway, do you want to tell me about the Civil War Cross? George Koontz has a Civil War Iron Cross. And if you don't know it, they're being stolen. You know, there's just one left. John Peter Wagner had one. Christian Sowers. I remember when they had them out there. Christian Sowers had one in Max's family. There was one out there. It's gone. It's been stolen. Okay, Jacob Sowers was the only Jacob and George Koontz. So I called members of the Sowers family, and we decided if it was municipal with the church, and it was, that we would put it in the historical room in that case. So we would at least have one Iron Cross in our family. And then George's got one too. And that's the only one left.
Well, I'm just going to take it upon myself, but I think that you should go ahead and take it up and put it in.
How do y'all feel about that? Oh, did you say Farrell goes back to George too? No.
Not that George, his father. It's his father that Farrell.
So I don't know. What do you think? How do you feel about that?
Well, if we don't do something with them, somebody else will do something with them.
It's a shame that you can't have one out there in the cemetery for people to look at.
Pennsylvania or somewhere, Ohio or New York State, somebody's, flea market, something.
I don't know what to do with them, I don't know.
Selling for squatters.
What?
Selling for squatters.
What?
All kinds
It's
of.
an old piece of cloth.
Do you want to take any action on that?
Can it be mounted on something that could not be removed like that?
Well, you get into money there, and I didn't know whether, I mean, you know, that would be.
I mean, could it be mounted on, could one be mounted and then some kind of recognition to all of those who had it at one point? So that there would be one still in the cemetery?
That may have to be a decision of some of the,
That's the cemetery committee on that.
to do that much with it.
Yeah.
But to put some kind of security, I think that I would recommend that we do it, or do something to make it more secure than the cemetery. As of 3 or 4 years ago, there were 3 or 4 at Pilgrim just laying on top of a granite tombstone. And I think they may be there today, they may not be, who knows?
I know, I was talking to Ed Hill, and he said both of his, several of his grandparents that were in the Civil War, they were all gone, all of the crosses were gone. So now they're getting the little bronze marker that goes in the ground. You can get those free, but you have to pay for, installing it, you know, cement. But
We have to go through the cemetery committee here to do the search.
Yeah.
If so, I move that our Koontz Reunion make a recommendation that it go inside the church.
you want to do that since that's a business item and do it.
Civil War cross. The Maltese cross goes with it. Be more secure inside the church.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. We'll make,
Oh, no, well, go ahead, I wasn't done immediately. I'm trying to get the name down, who's on the tombstone. That's what I need.
Well, it's,
Whose tombstone is this cross on that we're taking off?
it should be George.
What? So we'll need to talk to the cemetery, I mean,
I would think so.
George.
Well, I don't think you can take action to do it. Actually,
What kind of marker are you talking about?
The iron cross.
I mean, there's a charge that can be inside.
Well, it's just a flat bronze marker that's got, that tells their company and that they're Confederate soldiers. There's 3 of them out there. I got 3 for my ancestors. I got one for Michael Koontz and 2 Sowers. But then you gotta pay, if you get it done right, you have to pay, he didn't charge us $50 to install because he sets them in cement. And if you don't do it right, they sink down and then there's no use in messing with it if you're not gonna have it done right. So, she just brought up a question I wanted to clear up here. All of these books that Randy does are ordered from his address. Now, I think he's got books that you order from other people, and I forgot about that. He's got books available from other sources. And then he'll have you have to order them from the person there on that page. But all the books that Randy has done is the first 4 pages. You order directly from him. And that $23 will include postage. You don't need to send any postage with his. Okay, that's all I have.
Specifically, what do you ask for?
Oh, which book?
Yours.
This Koontz book, you asked for the descendants of Johannes Koontz. You want to check that? Oh, y'all don't have them, do you? This is descendants of Johannes Koontz. That's what you asked for. But just be sure that you get one of these. And he's got enough, I think, for everybody that wants one.
who's gonna check with the, committee to find out if we can do that?
Oh, I will. I'll check. Yeah, because I did that on the other one. I don't want, I hope it's not gonna be offending anybody though that we do that because,
That says Johannes, okay, it's right there.
no, it doesn't say the descendants, but it doesn't say the descendants. Hold it up, Farrell. Oh, and you still do officers?
I need to ask a question about that.
Get it done before everybody leaves. Yes.
If Betty gets this cleared, which I know she will, have the families on the cemetery committee here, to do this will go ahead and who's gonna be responsible for getting this taken off and putting it in there? This cross. Who does that? I mean, who would do that? So Betty Koontz or Betty something? Thank you.
Okay, after this is over, we'll, Betty and I will take care of more about this, we'll be able to
What about the memorial service for next year? Somebody want to volunteer or any volunteers?
Melody Evans said she would if there weren't any volunteers at all. I told her she had a job, I knew it.
Okay. And election of officers for next year. I guess we'll start off with president. Any Clay? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor? Welcome. Clay Koontz, president. Vice president. Anyone for vice president?
I was asked to nominate Albert. Yeah, Albert Evans.
Second. All in favor? Opposed? Albert Evans. Secretary.
I nominate Robbie Koontz. Tap.
Second, anyone?
Second.
Anyone else? All in favor? Opposed? Robbie Chandler. Treasurer.
Oh, I have to get a new treasurer, because I've been it for 2 years. You have not.
Betty, honey, I've been secretary for too long. 3 years.
No, I got 2 things in here to show you that I turned it over to you last time.
Okay, Betty. Second.
Second.
No, I'm not doing it. I absolutely am not.
Let's incorporate the secretary
I've been for 2
and
years.
the treasurer
Secretary,
together.
always should keep the same one.
No, we just talked about incorporating the secretary, the new secretary being secretary and treasurer.
No. No. Okay, no, it needs to be these notes.
Get your sister.
You need one here, if the state bank's got, you need a treasurer that's here in the community. That's true.
I nominate Lizette for treasurer.
Second.
I love you,
I
Lizette.
have a second. All in favor? Opposed? Second. Well, that pretty much wraps up the meeting. I think everybody just about left it. Any more business? Then I'm going to close this Koontz Reunion. I'd like to thank everybody for coming and hopefully see everybody next week.